Well, that's about the last of it.
Thanks, Dad.
You know, the local college is a very fine school.
Dad.
Come here. I'm so proud of you.
I love this town. I feel safe here. I know this place, but something compels me to leave to see what else is out there. I have always believed in God. Everyone in this town does. I've gone to church my whole life. I can't help but wonder, if I was born into another family in another country, would I believe in a different God? Maybe I wouldn't believe in any God at all. Lately, I've been doubting whether he or anything is out there.
Are you sure you have to do this?
I know. I'll be back at Christmas. My mind is filled with questions. Why am I here? How do I know if God exists? Is there only one God? Or are we just a bunch of particles and nothing more? Sometimes I try to capture evidence of a creator. Is all of this just an accident? Did it just come to be? How can something so beautiful come from nothing? I used to plead with God, show yourself, just a glimpse, then I'd know for sure. He never did.
Okay, I'm off.
Drive safe.
I will. I'll call you guys when I get there. I'll be okay, Mom.
I've always wanted to live in the city. It's so big and intimidating, but I can't wait to explore and meet new people. There's such a diversity of ideas about life here. Deep down, I'm afraid of what I might find, that I might lose my faith forever. But faith isn't enough for me anymore. How can I believe something in my heart if I don't believe it in my head? All I've ever wanted was to know the truth. But is there truth? How do I find it? Who do I listen to? What if what I find I don't even like? Does God exist? In a lot of ways, I hope he does. But I know that hoping for something doesn't make it so. I guess I'm on a journey to find the truth. Whatever that means.
There are moments in our lives that we don't forget. The day that I left home for college was one of those memories for me. I still remember packing up my possessions and putting them in my car. It wasn't easy deciding what was going to come and what would stay. As I reflect on that day now, though, I realize it was much more than my belongings I was sorting through. It was also my beliefs. That day, as I finished packing my car, I remember my mom coming out on the driveway with tears in her eyes. She gave me a big hug and kiss and said goodbye. I was 19 years old, heading off to face the world. Leaving home is a process we all undertake as we develop our worldview. Your worldview is the way that you see and understand everything. It's what you believe is true, good, and beautiful. The view that we hold of the world is forged through facts we learn in life and the experiences we gain along the way. But don't expect 100% certainty as you seek to answer the question, does God exist? A more realistic way that we determine our beliefs is if something is reasonable, just like a court of law, beyond all reasonable doubt. It's why I define faith as trusting what you have good reason to believe is true. Personally, I believe that there are good reasons to conclude that God does exist. And in this session, I want to share 2 of those reasons for you. They'll demonstrate not only the reasonableness of God's existence, but that Jesus' answer to the meaning of life that we discussed back in session 1, being found in relationship with God and each other, it's consistent with reality. My first reason for God comes from the telescope. As a kid, I still remember the first time I pointed a telescope up at the Milky Way. I was amazed to discover that the milky haze of light in the night sky was created by clusters of stars that are separated by light years of distance. When I observe the vastness of the universe, I am awestruck and bewildered. I mean, have you ever considered how bizarre it is that we live on this little blue rock spinning around a massive fireball in a dark, vacuous universe? I'm convinced it should at some level cause one to ponder. I mean, where did all this come from? Current scientific consensus tells us that the universe has a birthday that began with a massive explosion. The Kalam cosmological argument reasons that whatever begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. But it tells us much more than that. We can reason that whatever caused the physical world, and I'm talking about space, time, matter, and energy to explode into existence, must be beyond these things, for the simple fact that before the physical world came into existence, there was nothing physical. In other words, the universe did not cause the universe to come into existence. So what did? Whatever caused the physical universe to explode into being must have been non-physical, incredibly powerful, and have the ability to cause. We only know of a few things that are non-physical. For example, the concept of numbers and math do not exist in some physical location. Although they can be represented physically, they are in essence non-physical. Now here's the problem. Numbers aren't capable of causing anything. The only thing that is both non-physical and capable of causing anything that we're aware of is personhood, the soul, or an unembodied mind with the power and creativity to create the universe. This is commonly what we mean when we refer to God. Now you might be wondering, what caused God then? The answer is that nothing caused God because God doesn't have a birthday. God didn't begin to exist. God is an eternal, uncaused cause. Now I know this is difficult to imagine, but think about it. Something needs to be eternal. There needs to be a starting place from which everything else has come. Before people learned that the universe had a beginning, scientific consensus was that the universe is eternal. Now that we know that the universe came into existence, some people want to imagine that a multiverse exists that gives birth to universes like our own. However, this just raises the question, what caused the multiverse? Before you know it, you're on an infinite regress of causes. What caused that, that caused that, that caused that? Bottom line, you need a starting place, an uncaused cause. God is the most reasonable starting place from the evidence. Although we have no evidence for a multiverse existing, we do experience personhood. We have a mind or soul that is non-physical, yet is capable of acting on the physical world every second of every day. When I marvel at the cosmos, I can't help but ask not only where did the universe come from, but where did I come from? Which leads to my second reason for God from the microscope. I remember the first time that I peered through a microscope at my cells. I was in awe that these tiny little machines contained my entire biological instruction manual, DNA. I mean, consider this. DNA is a stored code of over 3 billion letters. If your DNA were an essay, it would be approximately 5 million pages, single-spaced, 12-point font. If you wanted to read your entire biological essay, it would take you 37 years if you read 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Currently, we only understand a fraction of that recipe. Yet of all the mystery that still remains with DNA, the one thing we are intimately aware of is that we are more than a stored code programmed to react to the world around us. I'm a person. Trillions of cells make up my body, and yet I am one person. Nearly all my cells in my body are replaced every 7 years, yet I remain the same person. We intuitively understand the difference between a bag of chemicals and a person capable of thinking and acting. But where does personhood come from? Either it's an illusion in which we're aware of the illusion, or we all have a non-physical component to us with the capacity for relationship. It seems we are truly capable of something amazing and unique, to know and be known. Again, by looking into where we come from, we've arrived at something both non-physical and relational in nature. The only way that I can reasonably account for the existence of the universe and myself is if there exists something non-physical, timeless, powerful, creative, intelligent, and relational in nature that created it all. This is what we commonly refer to in Christianity as God. Take the time to investigate God's existence. That's exactly what I did when I left home, and my worldview expanded. I came to appreciate that there are good reasons to believe that God exists. But this sent me on a new journey. I wanted to know and experience who this God is. I quickly learned that there are many religions in the world, which led me to ask the question of our next session: do all religions lead to God?